You're very much welcome back into the studio. This is Healthy Morning here on HSTV. Just gone down was In Focus with James. It's now time for us to focus our lens on a health subject, and we are going to be discussing benefits of giving birth in hospitals. And we'll get straight into the conversation with my guest for today, registered midwife Rabiatu Afariwa Asarimenta. Hello.
Hello.
I'm loving the short hair. Hey,
Thank you.
You're looking good as well. How did your weekend go?
It was cool.
Yeah. Did you watch VGMA?
No.
Oh.
I fell asleep.
But were you happy Black Shirt everyone? Or you
I
were
wasn't
rooting
following,
for?
so anybody at all, congrats to them.
Congratulations to anybody at all. Ah, okay.
Who was
Blacko, he did.
With
Artist of the Year.
Who was he contending?
It was contested with KCS, that's the one.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And yeah, congrats to all of them.
To all of them. Interesting. Let's get into benefits of giving birth in the hospitals. And I'm curious, does it mean people are still being delivered of babies at home?
Yes.
By any other person or professional midwife?
Any other person.
So what, you can train me like me to deliver somebody of their baby? We
can train you. When we train you, you go a step higher than what they are doing at home.
But how are they able to do it if they have no idea?
So the excuse is they would say they don't want to come to the hospital.
Why?
And then delay during the dilatation stages, the 0 to 10 that they have to wait so they open
the
up.
10 centimeters thing
yes.
you taught me some time ago.
So they don't want to go through that process. They don't want the midwife and then doctors to be sticking their fingers down there. That's the interventions that we do during the time that they will go through the first stage of labor.
Okay, but I really want us to argue this out, Bill, because we had people being delivered of their babies in homes, and they are healthy, and the babies are also healthy. And now you health advocates are asking pregnant women to make sure they go to the hospitals to be delivered of their babies. What are you people doing right that people in their homes are not doing right? And how come the 2 babies are alive up to now?
So
you agree, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we started from home before we had the hospital facilities.
Right.
But the hospital is an upgrade.
Okay.
It's safer. And it's more convenient as compared to the home. You would say the home is convenient because it's quite economical.
Yeah.
But the hospital is convenient in the sense that it provides you with safety and education. An example is postpartum hemorrhage, the bleeding after birth.
After birth.
Now, most of the time we hear stories, yes, even with the hospital we are getting it. At home they just put some myth, some taboo around it. Oh, she did something wrong and then that led to her death. There's something called obstruction of labor, where the second stage will start, baby's head will come out and then the rest of the body will get stuck inside. They would say that the woman did something, or maybe the baby is not hers, not the baby is not for the father. So let's say she had cheated and want to put it on her man. That is why the baby is stuck. So she needs to confess.
I've really never heard the story.
Yeah, there are stories like that.
And what, after she confesses, the baby comes?
After she confesses, the baby will come.
That's
and if she doesn't
funny.
confess, she and the baby will go away. And most of the time, they go away. It's just obstructed labor, but look at where they've turned it.
Okay.
But when you're in the hospital, we are able to identify it and then put in necessary interventions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That is why the hospital is more better than.
So I think maybe then you should take us through the key messages, as in what am I going to get in the hospital that if I decide to give birth at home, I wouldn't get.
So safety and protection in the first place, because during
but
the
you know,
first
Rabi,
stage of labor,
I think I would want to argue that out because the hospital is really a midwife or a doctor, somebody you really don't know. But if it's your grandma, like, she loves you because you know, like, blood is thicker than water. You know how they say it. Yeah. So how am I sure that, okay, my grandmother is really not going to protect me as compared to someone else?
Even with your grandma, when she was delivering your mommy, there was a birth attendant who came to her. Traditionally, we have birth attendants. They have also learned it from skilled old ladies from back then, and then the trace or the practice gets handed over to certain people in the community, not every woman. The fact that you have seen someone delivering a child doesn't mean you are a traditional birth attendant. You would have to do the practicing before you become one. And then even with the traditional birth attendants, for a longer period of time now, decades actually, health care professionals have volunteered or have put in efforts to train them to be much equipped than they used to be back then. So even in a community where you can argue that there is no hospital but there is a birth attendant, you will go in and you will find that she has certain tools that aid in making delivery much easier and saving both mother and baby as compared to someone who has no idea about what they are doing at home.
Okay, so it means that the safety and protection is assured when you are in the hospital.
Exactly.
Okay, and what else?
And also you get to get education on how to handle yourself, and then how to handle your baby, especially for first-time mothers.
Okay, so it means you midwives teach that.
We teach them
after the baby is out. You teach the mother what to do.
What to do with yourself and then your baby.
Okay.
Another aspect is that we are able to prevent infections. Something like the PPH I was talking about is also
the postpartum hemorrhage.
Exactly.
Okay, that's bleeding after birth.
Bleeding after birth.
Okay, and should every woman bleed?
You are supposed to bleed.
Okay, so it's natural.
You are bleeding, but not as in the PPH kind of, not the severe bleeding. So this is it. When you deliver your baby, the placenta comes out, and then you are supposed to clean the womb. The womb was made with of placenta, your baby, and other after birth parts. So they all become clots and then they melt away. In melting away, we say that you are bleeding.
So it means what the woman has to be in a sanitary pad.
Exactly. So you are going to bleed for about some 30 to 1 hour, but it's not plenty. It's a drip, let's say spot. You are going to spot, and then just like you have your menses, it's supposed to be just like that, or even lesser than that. But there are instances where the woman is going to bleed so much, so that they sometimes pass out or even die. Yes.
And what causes that though?
Sometimes it's when you have your baby and everything is out, your womb is supposed to squeeze back in. Sometimes your womb is not able to, get that strength to squeeze back in. So you will hear your midwife saying, "Okodaho arabi will tummy." For Nante will earphone, so that they tell them so they know. As you are rubbing it, you are helping your womb to get squeeze back. So sometimes they are not able to do this rubbing. You will hear your midwife say, "Okodana Johnson doa Johnson." Sorina Johnson, but because they are so tired after the whole delivery process, they tend to not want to wee, and it's painful when you have to wee because that place is all swollen, bruised, and all that. So they keep the urine inside, and then the bladder is full. The womb is not able to squeeze back, and all these lead to the bleeding, and then they'll just be lying in their blood, and because they are in bed, covered up for warmth. Once you go through the delivery process, the whole labor thing, you begin to feel some coldness due to the shock or due to the severe pain. So after you are done, we cover you up to provide you with some warmth. You will see them under the warmth that you've provided, and they are bleeding beneath. So you've provided the warmth, they are there, and then the bleeding is also there, and they can't talk because they are so tired. If you are in the hospital, we monitor you. We know that this is a potential risk. So once in a while, we come to check on you. Sometimes a simple intervention, active management, we call it, can stop the PPH or the postpartum bleeding. There are instances where even the simplest activity cannot stop it, and then we will graduate to medication. After medication can't stop, we sometimes push you to the theater. If you're home, you won't get all these things. There are instances where we have an emergency, you, the mother, or the baby. If you are home, you won't be able to get access to these emergency facilities like the theater, like the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit, where maybe you have delivered your baby and then the baby is having a little problem that might let him go away. We send the baby to the NICU. And then we take care of the baby there. But if you're home, we can't do that for you. Yes.
Because clearly then the people at home are really not educated in that space.
They'll just, there are instances where the baby can be saved, but because they don't have the skills, they don't have the foresight, they just watch on and then the baby goes away.
But I believe there can be some disadvantages of giving birth in the hospital, because sometimes when you stay somewhere that's really far from your hospital and you are so much in labor and you really have a midwife closer to you, how do you balance a situation like that? Don't you think you'll be lured to, you know, the kind of things this midwife will say, okay, my manager will now wolf here, because you really can tell that it's really far, you know, and I believe the hospital is also quite expensive. It comes with a toll list, because some time ago you told us that they ask for Dettol, sorry, they ask for detergent and all of that. So I'm sorry, they ask for a whole lot of stuff that you have to bring in, all of that delivery list. But you know, when it's at home, then that one is like then you're good to go. So how do you balance if you find yourself in that situation, especially when the hospital is very far from you?
So there are instances, like you said, the hospital is very far from you, but the one attending to you onim their oil. If you feel the person knows what they are about, fine, you can take the risk. It is the risk that we are trying to prevent or avoid. The home birth risk is far higher than when you're at the hospital. Yes, it's true. There's nothing on earth that doesn't have its disadvantages. We have our disadvantages. We don't get to give you the attention you need, especially in our area,
because
where
you don't want to
the place is crowded.
Patients want to what ratio.
So you don't get the psychological assistance that you need. And then there are instances where medications that emergency medications that you need, you might not get it. But again, you are under skilled professionals as compared to you being at home. So even if these facilities are not there, the medications are not there, they have been trained to have or put in interventions that you may not get when you're at home. Imagine you are supposed to deliver someone at home as compared to me being in a hospital where there's nothing. Chances of me saving the baby and the mother is extremely high as compared to you at home, just because I've been trained and you haven't been trained. You can assist the woman to pull out the baby, but what next? Sometimes they pull the baby out and they forget there's a placenta. I won't forget, because I know I'm supposed to expect it. There's a condition in pregnancy called placenta previa, where the placenta comes before the baby. In such cases, you are not supposed to deliver the woman. She might come in labor, but you are not supposed to do that. She would go through CS. When she comes to me, I can identify it and know that this is a risk. It's a danger that I have to prevent. You would say, oh, yempia adenim kwana se mame no wanwa kwada adibine etuaho. And then the baby will be there suffering. But when it comes to me, even if I'm in a facility where I don't have the equipment, I can still identify and know that I have to refer this woman to a bigger facility.
But the case where that person can't even get to you as a professional, just because this person is in a community where there is no hospital.
But there will be a traditional birth attendant.
Who is also skilled. So because now they even travel. They've been sensitized enough to understand that they can't do everything per the traditional way. They have to improve their skills. So now they come in, we have courses for them, 2 weeks, 3 weeks courses, just so they'll always be in their community. And in as much as there won't be a facility, there will definitely be someone who knows how to handle the situation. I get it. I think we'd have to wrap up in no time, because it's really like easy to understand and all of that. But in a situation where this skilled midwife is at home, what advice would you give to this person? Because it's not really a hospital. So what advice would you give to this old person who has no choice than to deliver a mother of the baby? And then what advice would you also give to pregnant women as well, with regards to visiting the hospitals?
So with pregnant women, don't give yourself excuses.
Okay.
Don't give yourself the chance for superstition to come in. The interventions that we do are very necessary. There are instances where they will tell them not to push, and then they will push, and then they hurt themselves. What's a better? Doctor say men pushing, midwife say men pushing. So we feel say then you push. That is why we put our fingers there. And at the shower, when you put it there, we want to know whether it is safe for you to push or not. We've discussed it already.
If time is not up and you push,
you will hurt yourself. That is why they will say, oh, she was going through labor safely, and all of a sudden, after the baby, she died. I say, what? We bleed too much. Yes, so when we put our fingers there, we can tell that your cervix is safe enough for the baby to come inside, come out. That is one. Yes. When they deliver, we have injections that we give them to promote or push your wounds to squeeze up faster. We give them antibiotics because we are preventing infection. Sorry. With the birth attendants at home, we would advise that the products or the materials that they use in delivering, the blades, the ahoma, and then the cottons that they use.
What do they use the ahoma for?
They use to tie the baby's navel, the cord when it comes
There's
out.
something I've been saying like peg.
Yes. That peg stops.
Is it the normal peg we use in
Oh,
China?
no.
It looks so much
similar,
like that.
but it's much
What does
stronger.
it do?
It stops it helps you prevent the cord from the placenta, and also protects the cord from getting infected.
And doesn't it cause pain to the baby? Because
Oh,
like
no,
it's
not
clipping.
at all, not at all. Once the baby comes out, those external features they die off gradually.
Because you see mothers being very careful when they are bathing the babies, because it's like they really don't want to touch it. What worse can happen? Like
nothing. Okay, they might be able to tear it, which I don't think is even possible until it dries out. When it dries out, it goes off on its own. But
so
just
if you
because
forcefully pull
you
it
can't
out.
even pull, the baby will yell. You are pulling the baby's navel. Yes, as at the time of birth, it is attached, and even though that cord itself is dead, it's still attached to the baby's body. So it is where the junction that connects the navel and then the cord that the baby might react. But the cord itself, there's nothing wrong. It's dead. Yes.
So is that why? So why is there a reason for people to have big navels? Because you know people have like big navels.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it because what really happened to the egg?
Sometimes it's infections that happen, and then sometimes you can't. It's a hernia.
Oh,
Yes.
I see.
Sometimes you can't even
see.
explain.
You were giving an advice to old women, and then we wrap
So
up.
with the
birth attendant.
with the birth attendants, now we live in a modern society. Try and upgrade. There are hospital facilities that give upgrades to those who have decided to stay home and help others deliver their babies. Take advantage of that. There are videos that you can watch. The articles, the tools that you use, your blade. Make sure that you have a pack of blade. You are not supposed to repeat the blade. If you use it for one person, discard it or give it to them to go away with it, or throw it away yourself. Blade and bra.
Okay.
The cottons that you are using should be hygienic. Make sure your place is hygienic enough, because the process itself comes with infections. All right, you are mixing blood with and other articles. So, and then when you deliver their babies for them, encourage them to still go to the hospital. Now, there are vaccines that we give the baby when the babies come.
Okay.
There are examinations we do on the baby when the babies come. So no problem. If you feel that you will be able to deliver the baby at home, once you are done, still come to the hospital for the assessment and then for vaccination to start. You, the mother, we will give you antibiotics. We will check your southern area to know that everything is safe down there. There are instances where they will have cuts, and then the birth attendants can't suture the cuts. They can't sew it up because they don't have the thread used in suturing. We will suture it for you, clean.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rabbi, for educating us. So
It's
the
a
crack
pleasure.
say, Pacho Unyuma, go to the hospital.
Exactly.
Try as hard as you can, try as much as you can, and make sure that you are delivered off your baby in the hospital, because they are everything there to help you be safe, protect you, prevent infections and all of that, unlike you being delivered off at home. So that's how we wrap up on the entire show today. And thank you to our guest, Rabiata Farawa Sermenta, for honoring our invitation as always and coming on the show to talk to us about so many health stuff.